What's the creepiest thing you've ever heard any child say? You can sleep with my teddy bear, mommy. I don't like when its eyes move. My niece, currently 4 years old. I'm convinced she's going to be the next Stephen King or the next Zodiac killer. Latest incident. Found her with her dolls seated all around the table. She's at the head of it, holding forth. She's got a bit of a lisp, so it's not easy to make out what she's saying when she's talking fast. I go over to ask her what they are playing. She was getting a battle plan ready on how to kill everyone in the house and take all the ice cream from the freezer. I was to be killed by her teddy bear stuffing itself down my throat. Sorry sis, I'm not staying the night, got plans. See you later, hopefully. My neighbor's 4-year-old daughter once said to me, "You're pretty. Too bad they're coming for you soon." Needless to say, I was terrified for a few days. Over a year later, nothing has happened to me. Suck it, Jennifer. My daughter would constantly talk of another life she had. This wasn't once or twice, this went on for years and in very specific detail. Kid at pet store, we need to get a dog that can eat a lot so when you die they can eat your body. Then it'll be like you're still with me. I was 17, but I died and now I have to start again. Excuse me, what? I was babysitting a 3-year-old. We were playing and suddenly he pointed at a painting on the wall of a woman with her head turned away so you couldn't see her face and said, "I don't like her, she's scary." I asked why and he said, "I don't like her eyes. She has bad eyes." My wife left the house and my daughter turned to me and said, "Mom's gone, we can do bad things." That creeped me right the FK out. I asked her, "What do you mean bad things?" The daughter replied, "We can jump on the bed and use the sharp scissors to stab things." I let her jump on the bed, and use the sharp scissors for arts and crafts. We asked my 5-year-old cousin who she was talking to in the den. She said with excitement I was showing Pap my dolls. He had passed that morning but we hadn't told her yet. Apparently when I was about 3 to 5 I had an imaginary friend who was a British soldier in WWI. I would tell my parents about the things he'd tell me, one of which was about being stationed in India. My mom then pulled out a map and asked me to point out where India was and I got it right. Little blonde girls still freak me out to this day. I had the window seat on a quick 1-hour flight, sat next to a little blonde girl, with her mom on the aisle seat. As we're taking off, the girl points out the window and exclaims, "We go up and die." Her mom quickly corrects her, "Yes, we go up in the sky." A few minutes later, she points again and says, "I see pain." Quick on her feet, her mom corrects her again, "You see plane, very good." "No, Cheryl, that's not what she said and you know it." My 4-year-old stepsister used to talk to a ghost named Basil, which was just coincidentally the name of the old man that died in the house before they moved in. When my sister was around 2 or 3 years old she ran out the door and down the street. Luckily my mom saw her and called me to chase after her. When we finally caught up with her my mom asked her why she ran out like that. My sister said, "This lady told me to follow her." We didn't see anyone in front of her the whole time she was running. Also we don't know how the front door opened since she couldn't even reach the handle at the time. Creepy stuff. My mum told me how when I was a baby in nappies and could talk quite well for my age, not sure how old I was. One day while she was changing my nappy she said I looked her dead serious in the eye and said, "I used to do this to you when you were a little girl." She said the hairs on her neck went up and was creeped the hell out and just replied, "Oh did you?" And I went on as a baby again like I never said a thing. She thinks maybe it was my deceased great nana appearing through me for a second. My sister was once asleep beside me while I was playing on my phone. She's a heavy sleeper and very little can wake her up. All of a sudden, she bolted upright and grabbed my arm while looking towards my window. She whispered in a panicked voice, "You can't let them in." Confused, I asked her what she was talking about. "You can't let them in," she repeated, "they don't have eyes." Then she rolled over and went back to sleep. This would be creepy enough on its own, however my house had a similar events prior and after this. For example, my siblings refused to sleep in their room. Eventually they said it was because of the girl without eyes that lives in the closet. I myself had nightmares of a girl with black holes for eyes standing at the foot of my bed. When I saw her, she told me that I'd better wake up before you forget how. Prior to that nightmare I had felt like my blanket had been getting pulled off me repeatedly during the night. I had never told anyone about it, so it wasn't like my sister got the idea of the eyeless girl from me. Also, the window my sister had been looking at had a bad history. Often at night I'd hear scratching coming from it and my cat would stare at the window and hiss. I never saw anything there, even when I climbed out on the roof to investigate. The second I was back inside, my cat would hiss at the window again. It was overall just a very creepy series of events. My 3-year-old daughter stood next to her newborn brother and looked at him for a while, then turned and looked at me and said, "Daddy, it's a monster, we should bury it." 5 kids holding hands, formed in a circle dancing around at night singing "Ashes, ashes, we all fall down" when I took my dog out. Apparently when I was a kid, I used to say when I was an adult, I did this and that. I don't remember why I was saying that, but I definitely remember I said I used to own a store when I was an adult. Another thing my dad says often was that he had an out-of-body experience where he saw me as a 2-year-old looking and giggling at him. He was trying to grab me but his hand just passed through me, where he realized he's asleep. So he woke up and went to check on me. I was still giggling and running away from him just like my dad saw. He believes I could actually see him while he was asleep. While changing my daughter in front of the open closet door, she kept looking around me and laughing. I asked her what was so funny. She said, "The man." To which I replied, "What man?" She then pointed at the closet and said, "The man with the snake neck." I turned around and nothing was there. I'm afraid to look into the history of my house to see if anyone hung themselves in the closet. At least she wasn't scared. When my eldest was maybe 5, I brought her some toilet paper when she was stuck on the toilet. She very cheerfully looked at me and said thanks. "I promise to never destroy you," smiley face. She's kept true to her word so far. I was tucking in my 2-year-old. He said, "Goodbye, Dad." I said, "No, we say good night." He said, "I know. But this time it's goodbye." Had to check on him a few times to make sure he was still there. Will the dog die when I remove all its skin? My daughter, 4, said she chokes herself. Me and wife almost lost our minds till we had a light bulb come on and we asked what she meant. She has EOE and other allergies, so she was referring to a flare-up, not herself physically choking herself. Was a relief. My daughter, 4, said she chokes herself. Me and wife almost lost our minds till we had a light bulb come on and we asked what she meant. She has EOE and other allergies, so she was referring to a flare-up, not herself physically choking herself. Was a relief. If someone here lives in the Philippines, then you may know what I'm talking about. I was babysitting my 3-year-old niece at that time, and it was in the middle of the night, around 1 to 3 a.m., and she woke up for whatever reason. She suddenly looks at the window and goes, "Kuya bakit marang duwend sa harapan ng puno? Hey, why is there a small garden gnome in front of the tree?" I instantly froze and told her to ignore it and just go to sleep. I closed all the windows and told her to never go near that tree during night. For context, a duwend is sort of like a garden gnome that attracts and abducts small children and they never return. I used to do short-term foster care. I had a couple of brothers at one point and was sitting alone with one of them, 8 years old, while he stared into the distance and very casually and with no sense of emotion detailed how he was going to stab his brother to death and suffocate my partner in her sleep. He spoke about it for about 10 minutes before looking at me and asking how long I had been sitting with him.